I'm going to tell you another very well-known story, but with a twist at the end that I got from Janet Dowling, and I asked her if I could tell her version. There was a man who, whatever he tried, seemed to fail. For example, he opened a hat shop, and just then the fashion changed and everybody stopped wearing hats. Every time he took his bicycle, he had a puncture. He tried a vegetable garden, and he was the only one in his whole village who had slugs and worms in his garden. And he always repeated, "Why, oh why have I no luck?" And one day, one of his neighbors was fed up and said, "Just go and ask the wise woman at the end of the world." Wise woman? Yes, you just have to walk straight, 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 and you'll get there. Yeah, with my luck, she'll probably be gone by the time I get there. Just go. And the young man set off. At the beginning of his journey, he came to a wide river, and there was the boatman waiting for his next customer in his boat. The young man jumped in, and the boatman said, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to see the wise woman to ask her why, oh why I have no luck," said the young man. "Well," said the boatman, "while you're there, could you ask her why, oh why I cannot leave this job? I hate my job, and yet I've been here for years, day in, day out, taking people across, and I hate it." "I shall ask her," said the young man. And he carried on his way. He walked, and he walked, and he walked. He walked for some days, he walked for some weeks, he walked for some months. And one day he got to a big, thick, dense forest with tall, beautiful trees. And in the middle of that forest, along the path, he suddenly came across a really small, scrawny tree with no leaves. And it was sort of leaning over onto the path because half of its roots were out of the earth. And you know how sometimes you just talk to a tree? Well, I do. I don't know if you do. But this man did. And he said, "Ah, you poor thing." And the tree spoke back and said, "Man, where are you going?" "Oh," he said, "I'm going to see the wise woman to ask her why, oh why I have no luck." And the tree said, "Well, while you're there, could you ask her why I don't grow, why I have no leaves, why I can't be like my brothers and sisters in this forest?" "I shall," said the young man. And he carried on his way. You can say it with me. He walked, and he walked, and he walked. He walked for some days, he walked for some weeks, he walked for some months. And one day, he got to this beautiful valley, these green, fertile hills. And there were orchards, fruit trees everywhere. And all of those vegetables that he had tried to grow back home, they just grew there, wild. There were animals running around. And down there by the river was a little house. And as he walked past it, out of that house came a beautiful woman. She had ginger curly hair that fell down to her hips, her pale green eyes, and she shone like the sun. And she said, come and have a cup of tea, traveller." And they sat on the bench in her garden. And as the traveller saw her close up, he saw in her eyes a sadness. She shone like the sun, her eyes, they were more like the moon. And he told her that he was going to see the wise woman to ask her why or why he had no luck. And she said, "Well, while you're there, could you ask her why, oh why, I have this sadness inside of me. I have everything I want. Why?" "I shall," said the young man. He walked, and he walked, and he walked. He walked for some days, he walked for some weeks, he walked for some months, and he got to the end of the world. He turned the corner, and there she was, the wise woman, sitting on a stool, having a cup of tea and biscuits. And she invited him, and she gave him some biscuits and some tea. And you know, it's that food that fills you, but that's so light at the same time. And she said, when they had had their tea and biscuits, "So why are you here?" And the young man told her about the woman that he had met, with her sadness that filled her so much. And the wise woman told him what to tell her. He told the wise woman about the tree, and the wise woman told him what to tell the tree. He told the wise woman about the boatman who couldn't leave his job, and she told him what to tell the boatman. He was about to leave, and she said, "Anything else?" "Oh, yes. How did you know?" "Well, I am the wise woman," she said. "Well, why, oh, why have I no luck? That's my question." And she said, "But you do. You have as much or as little as anyone else. And all you have to do is look for it. Keep your eyes wide open. And when you see it, grab it with both hands, no hesitation. Understood?" "Yes, yes," said the young man. "Look for my luck, keep my eyes wide open, and when I see it, grab it with both hands, no hesitation." Got it. Okay. He jumped back into the world and he started on his journey back. He walked and he walked and he walked. He walked for some days, he walked for some weeks, and he walked for some months. And he came back to that valley and he walked past that house. The young woman came out and she said, "Traveler, come and have tea. Tell me, what did she say?" He said, "It's quite simple." She said, "You're one of those people who needs to share what you have. You should have a family." And she said, "All you need to do is the first person that you like, even remotely, just ask them to share your life with them, he or her, ask her or him to marry you." And she smiled and she said, "Well, I kind of like you." "Me?" he said. "Would you marry me?" "Oh, no, no, no. You see, what she said to me is that I had to look for my luck and keep my eyes wide open, and when I see it, grab it with both hands, so I don't have the time. I'm sorry." And off he went. And he walked and he walked and he walked. He walked for some days, he walked for some weeks, he walked for some months, and he came back to that forest. And he saw the tree, and the tree said, "Man, man, did you see the wise woman?" "Yes, yes, it is quite simple. The problem is you have a treasure buried just there at your roots that is stopping you from getting all the nutrients you need. All you have to do is ask the first person who comes by to dig up that treasure, and you shall grow big and tall and leafy." "Oh, man, fantastic. Please dig up the treasure." "Me? No, no, no. You see, what she told me is that I have to look for my luck, keep my eyes wide open, and grab it with both hands when I see it, so I don't have the time. I'm sorry, but I'll tell the first person I see." And off he went. And he walked and he walked and he walked. He walked for some days, he walked for some weeks, and he walked for some months, and he came to the river. And there in the boat was the boatman, sighing, waiting for his next customer. The young man jumped into the boat. "Ah, it's you," said the boatman. "You're back. What happened?" And the young man, he told him about everything. He told him about the wise woman. He told him about the young woman who needed to marry someone. He told him about the tree who had a treasure buried under it. And the boatman said, and what about you?" And he said, "Yes, you told me to keep my eyes open and to grab my luck when I see it, and no hesitation." "And what about me?" said the boatman. "She said that you're under some kind of spell, which means that you can't leave your job for some reason. But all you have to do, there's a solution. The first person that you consider a complete fool that you meet, just give that person your 2 oars, the oars that you use for rowing the boat. Give that person your 2 oars and run. Run as far and as fast as you can." And the boatman said, "Really? And so that woman, she wanted to marry you, and there was a treasure, and yes, okay, we're going to go, but just for a second, could you hold these for me for a second?" And there, our young man, he saw in those 2 oars in front of him his luck, and no hesitation, he grabbed those oars. The boatman, he jumped out of the boat and he ran as fast as he could. And we don't know if the boatman found the treasure. We don't know if the boatman married that ginger-haired woman. But what we do know is that to this day, the man is rowing the boat. Back and forth, back and forth. And guess what? He absolutely loves his job. He loves being on that river. He loves meeting new people every day. He loves the peace of his job. He loves his little house there. He loves the reflection of the moon at night. And that, my friends, just goes to show how what people think you should do is not necessarily the right thing for you.
That was amazing. If I may.